Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I think sometimes we are too critical of ourselves. Personally, I feel that mutual funds overall has done a good job in last 10 years. We have grown from almost 1.5 lakh crores to now 11 lakh crores. I wouldn't say this thing to my team, but I'm sharing it here. So it's not as bad. I think one driver of change would automatically be the macroeconomics and the economy itself. So that is one. So when you just look at, few years back, 10 years back, the per capita income was about 350 US dollars, so $20,000. So first thing when you are earning $20,000 in a year, is you do your roti kapda makan. If you move from roti kapda makan to the next level, what do? You get into mutual funds, you get into risk. What you do is, the next thing you do is you start getting into something which you want to save, perceived safety, physical assets, maybe bank deposits, and that is the journey which we are traversing. Obviously, mutual fund as an industry is learning along the way. So my first point is that purely the time itself will drive the business to the next level. If we know that the economy would be from $2 trillion to $5 trillion in 2020, then by sheer size it would be more than double of where we are. Now the question is, how can we hasten this process, and how can we make it not double but 3 times or 4 times? I think 2 or 3 things which are important. One, is clear, as Karan said, and I believe, creating the right infrastructure. Second, in terms of, we heard about digital. I think we are already seeing 25 crore internet users. Maybe in 3 years, we would have almost about 3 times of this thing, people who are using 1 crore e-commerce transactions, so on and so forth. So I think digital would be the second. The third itself will be, from product to solution approach. How do we, rather than pushing products, how do we get into the solution-based approach? And that not only by manufacturers, but by the advisors and by the investor itself. And finally, I think, the investors itself, we will have new kind of investors driving the scale. So we would have, insurance companies maybe outsourcing their business to mutual funds, which is there on the anvil, hopefully. Across the world it is there. You would have international investors. We have recently launched 2 funds in Japan right now. And every single day, when I see the number, the average ticket size which is coming to us is about $1,000 from a retail investor, which are getting, few $1 million on a daily basis, the debt fund, and maybe we're launching an equity fund. So there will be these new investors which will be driving this thing. Finally, I think on the time, I just wanted to say, Starbucks took almost about 8 years to reach a sales of 100 million. In the next 4 years, from 100 million, they grew to 1 billion. And I think all these parameters which you're talking of, right from brick and mortar, technology, infrastructure, product to solution, new investor segment are all there, and we have no doubt that this industry would be at least double of where it is in the next 5 years.
Right. Now, I wanted to add one thing. Actually, when I spoke, I was concentrating on investor education at scale, because I thought that really was the topic. So I just wanted to add one more thing to it, is that I feel really to scale on the investor education part, what SEBI really needs to do, or we need to do, is really push for a course in all 12 standard, or I would say in the 3rd year of your college, just before everyone goes into the market and is going to make their first paycheck. So whether you're in liberal arts, or whether you're in commerce, or whether you're in science, I think it's very important that last course, it would be great if they make it mandatory, but even if they can have an optional class on how to manage your own personal finances as you go out there into the world, will be a very practical class, a real class. Of course, the other thing I want to talk about is everyone has concentrated a lot on scale when it comes to investor education also, and that is a challenge. But even what is happening today, we need to concentrate on quality. And I don't know if there's uniform quality over everything that is going out today. And again, I come back to technology because I feel if we can do that somewhere through the internet, through the mobile, through all this, new age stuff going on, then you can get consistent quality from the house to everyone else. Otherwise, you don't know if your facilitator in Jalandhar is going to be the same quality as he is in Chennai, is the same quality as he's going to be in Bombay. And so I think it's really important, again, two things. One is making sure it happens at the college level, and two, using technology as much as possible. And again, I think somewhere, I don't know, but I thought, the idea was to concentrate on investor education, so that's really what I'm going to be talking about. Is that okay?
That's
okay.
fine. We did have, see, investor education is a piece on which I think everybody here in this room, has a high stake, and everybody believes that, because we're selling a technical product. You're selling a product which an investor is not going to buy very easily, and you're also selling a product where the sensitivities are very high. The proof of concept is so delayed. You buy a soap and you use it, you immediately feel clean and fresh and feel happy. But in a financial product, your proof of concept is coming so late. You're only selling a promise. So the investor is very suspicious whether he's buying the right product. So I think education is definitely a piece on which I think everybody here is aware that, investments have to be made and they have to be done. But I thought that, considering that I run an educational initiative, I thought focusing on education would be so much of vested interest for someone like me. So I think I've just put that aside for the time being. And I'm saying that moving on to the points that came up, good that you brought it up. But I think the points that came up here tell me that you're going to look at technology, you're going to look at a distribution model, and we're going to look at scale. And the point Himanshu made was that probably people, it's going to happen, the scale is going to happen. My only worry here, I mean, if we can quickly wrap that around it, is to say, for an industry that's been here for some time now, are we really saying that we have learned from what happened in the first few years and are therefore going to leverage on those trends and take advantage of the opportunity that is in front of us? Or are we going to keep scurrying back, What is that? Is technology going to be that one new thing which is based on, okay, this is a distribution model and therefore this is going to scale me? Is there going to be something different? Now, I don't want to go back to that point, but I think this will link us to the next thing I want to discuss with you, which is the new product and the new market. Because we are saying that we've tried, I think every mutual fund has had its own range of products. Everyone has brought in these products and we have taken them to the markets. But if we believe that the opportunity to grow big is before us, what are we going to do about capturing new markets? What are we going to do? Because I think one of the concerns that we have is that we probably continue to talk to the same constituencies, or are we going to look at, for example, the person who has just got his job? He gets his credit card, he gets his loans, he gets his vehicle loans, and end of the year the insurance agent is in front of him asking him for tax saving product. When are we appearing in front of him is a question I had. Are we present in these new markets? I mean, what are you thinking about newer constituencies, newer people coming into the market? Because I believe that also represents expansion for the industry, rather than being seen to be going back to the same people. If you'll bear with me, Aditi, I'll come to you. I will start from Himanshu and come back to keep the discussion a little fair. Himanshu, we'll start with you. Yes. What can we do about capturing new markets, new people into the business?
So, to capture new people, obviously one is that we step up our distribution efforts in terms of creating that brick and mortar. The regulator has clearly have said that, they would want, for example, public sector banks to drive mutual funds, get new people. So that is one which we need to drive as an industry. But second and also important part of it is that, somehow in this overall piece, again coming back to the digital piece, that will play a huge role. Now if you look at, a Chinese mobile maker who comes here and then makes Flipkart the sole distributor in the country, saying that, and then within the few minutes, the stock is all, a few seconds, yeah. So a few seconds it is done. and they say that not only it saved them the issue of creating a physical infrastructure, but also in terms of cost, they could reach out to the person in a much lower cost. Now, that is not possible in financial services, as my friend DP said. But I think, digital will play a very, very, very important role in getting new people. I'll give you some numbers, and I think if the regulatory interface, if that can help us. So today, I can go to a shopping portal and buy anything whatsoever without doing any KYC, anything whatsoever, and get even the cash has to be paid when the things comes to my house. Now herein we obviously need to do we need to onboard a customer. Now these are things which once they start getting simpler, so the regulator has already said, the budget says that how we can leverage upon the the banking infrastructure in terms of KYC. If we can onboard a customer easily without telling him that, okay, you first go to physically get a KRA done, then come to my website, then do all of this, and then I will serve you. I think some of these simplicities which are being worked upon will continue to drive new people. Now you'll be surprised to know every single day we get almost about 300 to 400 people who are coming to the new people coming to the transaction site, trying to figure out if they can get into this. So I think this is, so people are wanting to get into something. So I think it will be a brick and mortar combined with the digital interface, and the regulatory perspective will make it simpler.
As much as possible. Would you want to add to that, Mr. Subramanian?
I have a different take again, Uma. Right? You talked about demographics as a thing. You talked about new geographies. I don't think either of them is the answer to scaling it up. I think the market, the real market, is that mutual funds are a sold product, right? So they need to be sold to the customer. And so I think we have been very, very unfair to that person who's dealing with the customer. That is the distributor or the IFA. Over the last 10 years in the regulation, we have made a distribution a very, very bad business to be in, right? How many new distributors are we attracting? We have what? Less than 1 lakh empaneled with AMFI. Of that, what? 20% are active in some form. We need scale of 10 times that. So I think the real market that we need to create is a distribution force to acquire customers. I think if the industry can address that, right, the problem will be.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are looking at a situation where we are saying that we should be able to, because I completely agree with you that it has over a period of time become less and less attractive, to be a mutual fund distributor. So that's a challenge that we face. So if you're going to look at taking this number from something like 40,000 today to, let us say, about 40,000 a year or 4 lakhs, that's a number which most of the mutual fund CEOs I speak to are saying that, we need 4 lakh people, we need a large number, what can we do to be able to, and I agree with you that if these distributors, if it's worthwhile for them to take the product, then they're going to be able to do that. So I'll just come back to you, Karan, in a minute. I'll just ask Mr. Singh this question, in terms of saying that, are there hurdles in increasing the distribution, sir?
Yeah, there are hurdles. There are hurdles in the way, I'll come back to the basic, when we were talking about investor education. The investor education is a very, very general term. There's no specific definition. What do we call investor education actually? And is it something, if we are going and educating a few young people about about the investments and taking them on board, is it investor education or distributor education? Or we are going to a niche of investors and talking about the particular product class per se. Will it be investor education? Will it not be investor education? Actually, there are going to be various models when we talk investor education. And this is why I absolutely agree with Mr. Subramanian. This is a big challenge. And there, the hurdles are taking them for the exam, getting them on board, and then giving a good remunerative model from very beginning. That's when taking somebody on board, as we were talking about taking somebody on through liquid fund or ultra short-term fund. Getting the KYC done for a distributor itself costs a lot of money. 2 or 3 times he has to visit. It costs 300, 400, 500 rupees getting him on board. Who is going to bear this cost?
So
Can
it's
it be
become expensive to
expensive too
to
much.
acquire,
And because the initial investment in getting the investor on board for a new distributor is huge, so that's why people are finding it difficult. And the remunerative models are not good enough. I mean, if I get, if even if somebody gets say 20 clients